When a man found this giant water bubble in his garden, he jumped on it to pop it like a zit. Have you ever wandered into your garden only to find a large chunk of it suddenly a lot taller than you remember? Well, that's exactly what happened to one man in Pennsylvania. His solution? Pop it like nature's very own zit. What happened next may be the most satisfying thing you'll ever see. James Callender's a pastor from Pennsylvania. Born in Parker, he now lives in Cambridge Springs, and he's clearly a man invested in his lawn. One day, however, he came down to find a surprise waiting for him on his normally perfectly well-kept grass. There, plain as day in the middle of his yard, was an oddly raised patch. On closer inspection, the bump seemed to behave in a manner similar to a giant bubble, moving in a fashion not unlike a waterbed when prodded and poked. According to Callender, there had been heavy rainfall in the area recently, which is likely what caused the bubble to appear. Indeed, the technical term for the hydrologic phenomenon is known as a lawn blister, and it's a known issue in lawns and other grassy areas.
Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story.
Landscapers and gardeners will often combat bad soil by laying a plastic sheet on top of it rather than digging it all out completely. They'll subsequently lay a good soil on top of said sheet and put turf and plants directly on the new one. The bubble issue arises when water finds its way underneath the plastic sheet that's been used to break up the different soils. Indeed, it's a phenomenon that's been known to happen as a result of water lines breaking and liquid spilling under the sheet, causing the bubble to build up. In this instance, though, the bubble wasn't caused by a broken pipe. It appeared to be simply the result of heavy rainfall that had found its way underneath Callender's lawn. So the pastor ventured to his garden to have a look at the strange phenomenon and try to figure out what to do about it. In a video uploaded to YouTube, Callender can be seen walking around the bubble, evidently sizing it up and wondering what action to take. And then in a nod to his profession, he says, "I hope it's not going to turn into Noah's Ark." Using a sharp garden tool, Callender begins poking at the bubble in order to pop it. But while a few drops trickle out, the majority of the water remains inside the mound, refusing to budge. Callender continues poking it though, presumably confident that all he's going to find inside is water. But the woman narrating proceedings suggests that there may be more to this strange oddity than meets the eye, joking, "Probably a snake will come out." In a last-ditch attempt to get the water out, Callender climbs on top of the bubble, which appears squishy to the touch, like some kind of grassy waterbed. And then with a little more force from his garment implement, the watery hill finally starts to give. Suddenly, like a massive grassy zit, the bubble bursts, and muddy water starts pouring out through the hole Callender created. That's what you call an old-fashioned mud puddle, the narrator notes. As Callender stomps around barefoot on top of the grassy mound, more and more water pushes out, and the tiny muddy fountain doesn't let up either. Clearly, this is something that's going to take a long time to drain. Callender uploaded the video of his crazy garden water feature to YouTube, where it already has nearly 6 million views and more than 8,000 comments. Kay Raymond, for instance, took to the waterbed comparison a little too literally, remarking, "I'd have gladly climbed on top of it, made myself comfy, and would have instantly fallen asleep." Amanda PC, meanwhile, wrote, "It's like popping a pimple out of Mother Nature." And another user disagreed with Callender's reaction, writing, "I would try to figure out how somehow build up pressure inside so it would explode." Well, that would certainly have made for a cool video too. This isn't the first example of this kind of bubble to crop up online though. Nor in fact is it the biggest. You see, most lawn blisters occur on golf courses where they can reach gigantic sizes. Presumably, this is because of the sheer amount of grass on a course. For instance, at Grey Wolf Golf Course in Panorama, British Columbia, a lawn blister formed that reached a whopping 18 inches in height, taller than any actual waterbed. The blister was apparently caused by a broken pipe leaking under the fairway. That particular bubble didn't last too long, however, with people constantly stopping to kick and jump at it. But we can hardly blame them. It looks like a lot of fun. Indeed, it's almost like a giant grassy trampoline, until it bursts, that is. Still, even if you haven't come across this peculiar phenomenon before, watching it happen on video is almost as satisfying. Unsurprisingly then, there are videos all over YouTube of lawn blisters popping up and, of course, being popped. Indeed, while the circumstances in which these bubbles arise are fairly specific, they seem to be pretty common. So if, like James Callender, you ever wander into your garden to find it seemingly taken on a life of its own, you'll at least know why, and you can have plenty of fun popping it yourself.
If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting too. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.